Hello chess lovers, Suren here, and in this video I want to share with you a very instructive blitz game played by Armenian chess grandmaster Samvel Tersakyan. You remember, right, Tersakyan? A couple of months ago we streamed together. So is there some nice tactic over there?
Yes.
Rook takes or what? Oh gosh, this is interesting. Takes, and then bishop e3. So the game was played on Lichess, and Tersakyan's opponent is a chess player whose username is Nxd4 rated 2463. This was a 3-minute game, and Knight, who was playing with the white pieces, opened up with e4, to which Mr. Rainman responded with Sicilian defense c5. On Lichess, Tersakyan's username is Rainman. Knight f3 d6, d4 c takes d4, knight takes d4, knight f6, and f3 we have the Prins variation. White is delaying the development of the queenside knight and is maintaining the possibility of setting up the Maroczy bind by going for c4, e5, knight b3, and a5. Other popular alternatives are bishop e7 or bishop e6 or knight c6 or d5, which is also a very good move, but in the game we have a5. Black wants to harass white knight further, and instead of taking into consideration black's next threat, white proceeded with his idea, played c4, but this is not good, and after this move white is starting to face serious problems. Instead of playing c4 in here, it's better to play knight c3 or bishop b5 check, but in our game we have c4, and the problem with this move is that this steps into knight takes e4. Look at this brutal piece sacrifice on move 7. The fact that white's king side is vulnerable, and also as soon there will be no safe square for this white knight, the sacrifice becomes possible. I think that this knight takes e4 is a very practical idea and you can use it successfully. Many players have fallen into this, although not everyone managed to realize the advantage. So white accepted the piece sacrifice, and here comes queen h4 check. Well, if you won't accept the piece sacrifice and play a move like bishop e3, then simply knight f6 and black is a pawn up, no problem at all. In our game, white accepted the knight sacrifice, and there comes queen h4 check, king d2 and a4. And it turns out that there is no safe square for this white knight, and black is not only managing to win back the sacrificed piece, but also white king is on a very awkward square. By the way, in case you are wondering why is knight takes e4 not working on move 6, then the reason is that you don't have a pawn on a5, and after f takes e4, queen h4 check, king d2, you can't win back the sacrificed piece. In this case, of course, white is doing great. That's why in our game we first see a5, and only after c4, knight takes e4 followed, f takes e4, queen h4 check, king d2, a4, and after knight c3, black won white knight. A takes b3, queen takes b3, knight c6, knight b5, queen f2 check, bishop e2, and bishop e7. A very interesting move. Black is proceeding with the development. At any moment the dark squared bishop can join the attack, but black is doing this at the cost of allowing knight c7 check, something which white made, and after king f8, white naively won the rook on a8, but it turns out that the rook is poisoned. Instead, it was better to offer the exchange of queens. But in our game we have knight takes a8, and there comes black knight, knight d4, queen e3, bishop g5. According to Stockfish, queen takes g2 followed by queen takes h2 is stronger, but in the game we have this sparkling bishop g5 move, which despite being a very beautiful move is not really accurate. After queen takes g5 we have queen takes e2 check, king c3, queen c2 check, king b4, knight c6 check, and king a3, which turns out to be a mistake. According to Stockfish, king b5 is the move which is allowing white to keep the balance. If knight d4 check, then again white can move back his king on b4. And yes, now white has a very dangerous mating threat, you have to be careful. But this is crazy, right guys? King b5 turns out to be the most accurate move. Instead, in our game we have king a3 and queen takes c4, b3 queen b4 check, king b2 queen d4 check, and king b1, which is already losing on the spot. With king a3, white could prolong his resistance. Giving back the rook is good, but instead we have king b1, after which black also won the pawn on e4 with a check, which later will allow him to switch the light squared bishop into the attack. Queen d4 check, king b1 and f6. As this white queen is controlling the f5 square, black wants to kick it away and go for bishop f5 check, queen h5 g6, queen h6 check, king f7, a3, white is freeing the a2 square for the king, but anyways, here comes the bishop, king a2, and now can you find how Terza can finish up his opponent? Already there is checkmate in 4. Ready? This time he went for a knight sacrifice on b4. This is something which is allowing him to switch into the attack the last piece. Yes guys, never forget the good old quote. When you are attacking, all your pieces should join the party. Bishop a3, and after queen f2 check, white resigned. If queen d2, then queen takes d2 checkmate. In here, if it weren't the rook on h1, then you could go for rook takes a3 and then queen takes a1 checkmate, right? Yeah. But in the game we have queen f2 and black forced a resignation. Despite being a blitz game, this can be very instructive, and never forget about the possibility of going for knight takes e4 in this Prins variation. In the end, a chess puzzle for you where the task is to find the winning move for white. The task is very easy and I will wait for your answers in the comment section. Thanks for watching. Here are more suggestions for you. Feel free to check them out as well. I will see you in my next video. Take care.